I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but you remember that situation where you end up throwing something away that you weren't sure would be useful in the future, and sometime later there's an opportunity to use it. Then you remember that you threw it away and you're very disappointed. Well, if you've ever experienced that, you know that it applies to this video too, because knowing how to identify diamonds is the kind of information that can change your financial life overnight. But then you might think, what are the chances of me finding a diamond out there? As time goes on, more and more natural diamonds will be discovered by people all over the world. But did you know that you could be one of them? So don't throw away that ugly, rough stone you found lying around. It could be worth more than you think. And then, of course, you'll see some tests to find out if your stone really is a diamond. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had the opportunity to see a rough diamond in person? Unfortunately, most people have never had the opportunity to hold a rough diamond in their hands and see its natural characteristics up close. But surely you've seen a cut diamond on display in one of those beautiful, highly coveted pieces of jewelry full of sparkling stones that are sold in jewelry stores. But before we get into the details, it's important to note that a rough diamond is very different from a cut diamond. Well, in case you didn't know, the diamond appearing on your screen right now is a yellow diamond found in the wild by a little girl. Since her parents didn't know it was a diamond, the stone was sold for a token amount. Today, that beautiful golden diamond is valued at thousands of dollars, which would likely have paid for the little girl's college education and her parents' retirement. And it's not the only case. An elderly woman once wanted to throw away a box of old costume jewelry, but her neighbor advised her not to and to take the jewelry to a local auction house to be appraised. Upon analysis, the jewelry was found to contain a 34-carat diamond valued at over 2 million pounds. The elderly woman revealed that she had purchased the diamond at a garage sale many years ago. She decided to sell it at a private auction after discovering its true value. There are many such cases out there, and I hope you won't be the next one. Because if you like gems and diamonds, pay attention, because after this video, you'll see the world in a different way. Well, if you found a rough diamond in nature, you probably wouldn't know how to recognize it, because rough diamonds are very different from the cut stones we're used to seeing around us. To give you an idea, if you were to find a large diamond of good quality, you could be sure that it would add a few $1,000,000 to your bank account. But enough about that. Now that you've seen that identifying diamonds can be valuable information, I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. And if you've never thought about it before, know that in terms of odds, it's infinitely easier to find a diamond than it is to win the lottery. And as with everything in life, just as important as knowing what to do is knowing what not to do, and it's no different with diamonds. So I'm going to show you the differences between crystals that can look like rough diamonds, so you don't get confused when you find one. Usually cases like the little girl's happen because there are some stones found in nature that are very similar to diamonds. The main ones are quartz crystals, colorless topaz, and some geodes. But let's start with geodes. If you're not familiar with geodes, they are formations with microcrystals, sometimes so small that you can only see the reflections. Some people believe that these stones are diamonds because of their sparkle, but this formation is not characteristic of diamonds. What happens is that geodes are made of very small microcrystals of quartz, and sometimes you can only see their reflections. When you shine a light on them, you see lots of little glittery dots, and because of the glitter, many lay people associate it with diamonds. But since not all that glitters is gold, you should know that the formation of geodes has nothing to do with diamonds. So if you find one lying around, you can rule it out. But if you do find a geode out there, don't be sad, because geodes also have value, and depending on their size and shape, they can bring you a lot of money, like this heart-shaped geode that was offered for $120,000. Because geodes are made up of small quartz crystals, quartz and topaz crystals are often mistaken for diamonds. Although quartz and topaz crystals are similar, they have some very different characteristics. The first thing to look for in your stones is their size. This is because you can find both quartz and topaz in all sizes, from very small stones to very large ones like the one you are looking at. For example, these are quartz crystals.
Oh my God! That's a what crystal? What?
Diamonds, on the other hand, are generally small. It's extremely rare to find them in larger sizes. I think that's why they doubted that this beautiful golden stone was a real diamond. To give you an idea, the largest rough diamond ever found was called Cullinan. It was found in 1905 in South Africa, and it weighed 621 grams. And in over 100 years, that record has never been broken. Third on the list is the Sewelô diamond, found in Botswana. It weighs about 352 grams, which is equivalent to 1,758 carats. However, these two stones are super exceptions. Normally, most diamonds are very small, weighing only a few grams, and with a colorless, crystalline appearance, just like the crystalline appearance of the topaz and the colorless quarter. These are undoubtedly the crystals most likely to be mistaken for diamonds. However, the brilliance of a diamond is unmistakable. Even a rough diamond has exorbitant brilliance. Take this example. The brilliance of the diamond has a more metallic appearance. However, this characteristic is not so obvious depending on the case. If you don't know or are not very familiar with these stones, you may get the impression that they're all the same. However, there are other details that can help you, such as the facets, which are the natural appearance of diamonds and help to identify the mineral. The appearance of each mineral is related to its chemical structure. Quartz crystals, for example, form hexagons with 6 sides, and they usually form a pyramid at the top, and in different sizes. This shape is very common in nature. Topaz crystals, on the other hand, also form facets, generally more irregular than quartz facets. They are harder to find perfect and generally have a flat top, without forming pyramids at the ends. This in a perfect crystal, as in the formation of a diamond crystal. If it's perfect, it's very different from these two crystals. Diamond crystallizes in triangular shapes, and although it rarely forms perfect crystals, in many cases, it is possible to see small triangular formations. As in this example, you can see how the triangles form. See? If you see this in the stone, it's most likely a diamond. You'll usually notice them on the sides of the stone. You can see them with a magnifying glass. Now look at the difference between the 3 stones side by side. We can see that the formation of the diamond, depending on the cut, the rough, or if it is broken, does not show these structures clearly, so the facets are no longer there. And that can confuse a lot of people, like the old woman who wanted to throw a diamond in the trash. For these cases, I'm going to show you some tests that you can do to find out if you have a diamond. So you've heard the story that diamonds cut glass, right? Well, that's true. In fact, many tools have a diamond on the end to cut glass. Of course, it's not a real diamond. It's a synthetic industrial diamond. So what happens? Both quartz and topaz crystals can scratch glass, and that confuses a lot of people, because on the Mohs scale, the hardness of quartz is 7 and the hardness of topaz is 8. In case you didn't know, the Mohs scale goes from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest degree of hardness. And on that scale, the hardness of glass is 5 to 6. So the elements with the highest hardness are able to scratch those with a lower hardness. So although quartz and topaz are able to scratch glass, only diamond is able to cut it. Diamond has a hardness of 10 on the Mohs scale. In other words, maximum hardness. Nothing is harder than diamond. So if your stone could cut glass, you could be looking at a diamond. It's worth noting that in addition to diamonds, there is another stone that can cut glass. This is corundum. In short, corundums are rubies and sapphires. The rubies are red in color and the sapphires are the other colors. However, these stones are quite different from diamonds. If the diamond is real, its facets refract the light in different directions instead of just one straight line. And because of that refraction of light, you won't be able to see the letters clearly through the diamond because they'll be a little jumbled. You won't be able to see perfectly, even though the diamond is transparent. It has such a high refraction of light, you can't see through it perfectly, like most other crystalline stones. So guys, in addition to these tests, one thing that helps a lot, both for identifying diamonds and for identifying other stones, you can see many photos and samples of rough stones. At first glance, it may seem that everything is the same, but you can trust my advice. After a while, you'll start to notice the differences, and you'll realize that there are some details of brilliance and refraction that you can learn more about in our digital book, which is available at the first link in the description. You can see some examples in these pictures of rough diamonds. Take a look. Look at the brilliance they have. This is the characteristic luster that you should be looking for in a diamond stone. It looks like some kind of oil has been rubbed over it. At the same time, it looks like it has a metallic luster. Now look at these quartz crystals. Can you see the difference? If you look closely, it's more like broken glass or a piece of ice. And that's because quartz has a different refractive index than diamond. These concepts are explained in more detail in our digital book. And as I said, I'm sure you've already begun to realize that the brilliance of the diamond is different. Now, could you tell the difference? Let me know your answer in the comments and tell me what country you're from so we can better interact. If you can't see the difference, just rewind the video a few times. So keep making these comparisons, and I'm sure you'll learn over time. With practice, it will become more and more natural for you to notice. Or you can use the relative density test, which is also taught in our digital book, but despite its name. Relative density. This test is very easy to do. To perform the relative density test, you only need one material. This is a precision balance. You can buy these small scales in any store in your city, especially those that sell items imported from China. These scales are usually cheap and easy to find. So the test is as follows. You weigh the mineral on the scale and write down its weight on a piece of paper. Then you place a container of water on the scale and reset the scale to 0. Then you weigh the same mineral again, only now in water, but you have to tie the rock down so that it doesn't touch the bottom. You place it more or less in the middle of the water container. Then write down this value and divide the first value by the second. The product of this calculation is the relative density. If you have any questions, I'll be releasing a video on how to do this next week in our members area here on YouTube. So don't waste any time and become a member of our channel right now. In fact, through the relative density, you can discover the nature of any stone because there is a relative density table that you can find by searching on Google or by purchasing the Gemology Journey that you can download in the description of this video for an affordable price. But as a reward for watching this far, if your stone is a quartz, the relative density will be about 2.6, 2.66. If it's a topaz, it's about 3.1. But if you're lucky, the relative density for diamonds is about 3.52. So you can see that there is a big difference between these stones. That is why, if you can do the relative density test, you can unravel the mysteries of whether your stone is a real diamond or not. Because as I always say, if you've ever thought about winning the lottery, you should know that it's easier in terms of probability to find a rare diamond worth millions of dollars than it is to win the lottery. The first thing you need to know is that the shape of the diamond in its raw state is directly related to its formation process. And a diamond with the right shape can be very valuable because of the use made of the gemstone when it is cut. If you've been following the videos on our channel, you've probably learned that diamonds are formed deep in the earth in a region with high enough pressure and temperature to crystallize the carbon that forms diamonds in this process. Right now, this region of the Earth's mantle is full of diamonds of all sizes and qualities, but unfortunately, we haven't developed the technology to go down there and get them. So we have to hope that nature itself will be kind enough to bring some of these gems to the surface through supervolcanic eruptions. And often, some diamonds are big, some are small, and so on. But why is that? Well, because the pressure and temperature conditions in the Earth's mantle are volatile, diamonds form in many different shapes, sizes, and colors. And this is where it gets interesting, because here you'll see how to identify each of these characteristics. Every mineral in its raw form has a different crystalline shape, which is how the stone develops during crystallization, according to its chemical composition. In other words, the formation of crystals happens according to the material it is made of. In the case of diamond, this formation takes place in a cubic pattern. It gets its name from the way the carbon molecules are organized to form the diamond crystal. And look how interesting that is. You probably learned in school that the graphite used in pencils is made of the same material as diamond carbon. But if they are the same, what makes graphite different from diamond? Why does one cost millions of dollars and the other pennies? Well, the main difference is not in the chemical composition, but in the structural organization of the carbon molecules. This is why you may have already noticed that graphite is a soft and fragile material, while diamond is super hard and tough, even though they are both made of the same stuff. Now that we know this, we come to the first form of diamond crystallization, the octahedron. This is the most common structure found in rough diamonds. This type of diamond looks like two pyramids joined together. It resembles the shape of a diamond with one end up and the other end down. But it is not the only diamond with these characteristics. There are other stones that also have the same form of crystallization, such as corundum, which can be found in similar shapes, confusing many people out there who think they have found a colored diamond. And in case you didn't know, corundum is rubies and sapphires. Rubies for the reddish stones and sapphires for the other colors. However, you may notice that rubies and sapphires are more dull and opaque, but regardless, if you are lucky enough to find them in nature, you should know that they are also highly prized stones. And now you can find the same form of crystallization in magnetite and fluorite. These are two very different stones and much more fragile than a diamond, but they are also a great find. This pawn shape, as prospectors call it, can be cut in half to produce two pieces of almost equal size. Octahedron rough diamonds are most easily found in brown. Diamonds of this shape are even found in some regions here in the United States. There was even a Frenchman named Julien Navas who found a 7.46 carat diamond in the Crater of Diamonds State Park in Murfreesboro, Arkansas. So if you've ever seen a pebble with this shape and ignored it, know that you may have missed a golden opportunity, I mean a diamond. At first, you may find it difficult to identify a diamond, but after a while you will. You'll start to notice the differences and realize that there are some very unique details. What's more, there are various tests you can do to identify any type of gem you find in your area, and you can learn how to do these tests using our digital gemology book, which is available at the first link in the description of this video. But moving on, the next shape is the round diamond. What do you think? Can a diamond be round? When I was a beginner and saw one for the first time, I almost doubted that it was a diamond. In my opinion, this is by far the most curious shape of diamond. If you look closely, you'll see that they have almost no face, but they're not perfect little spheres. They are full of little imperfections. They usually look like this because of the wear and tear they suffer over time. But don't confuse round diamonds with the white spheres that some people insist are diamonds. Diamonds are very hard and cannot be found rolled in nature. Rough diamond stones will always have small imperfections and inclusions, which is quite different from the white spheres of rolled river stones, which have nothing to do with diamonds. However, don't dismiss rolled river stones out of hand, as we talked about in the previous video. It's worth remembering that they also have their value and can be sold for great prices. So don't confuse them. There are round diamonds. They are small and imperfect as you see them now. They are not perfect little spheres. They also retain their high brilliance. Just like the next diamond shape we can find, the dodecahedron. I don't know about you, but some people find that name strange. So let us know in the comments what country you're watching from. And if you find that name strange too, because usually this shape is flatter and has a diamond shape at the top of the stone. Just take a look at what it looks like. You could say that dodecahedrons are a slightly modified version of the diamond octahedron, which is the most common shape and sometimes looks almost like a balloon. They have an average of 12 sides that are nearly equal. In some cases, they can appear semi-spherical. In other cases, they can have from 12 to 24 faces. This shape of diamond crystal is quite common in African quarries. It is the most popular diamond shape among jewelers and is considered the favorite for cutting because you can make several stones and get a lot out of them when cutting. Cubic diamonds, on the other hand, are usually opaque in color. They are usually found in different colors such as yellow, red, green, orange, and even brown. Cubic diamonds look a lot like very small cubes with a very peculiar appearance. It doesn't even look like a diamond. You wouldn't think that such a stone would actually be a diamond, which is a very rare shape. And because of the internal structure of these cubes, it is not a good gem to cut. That's why these stones are classified as exclusive gemstones in their raw state. Imagine walking through nature and finding a diamond like this. It's like a dice. Have you ever thought how unfortunate it would be to find one of these and not even imagine that it could be a diamond? And the best part is that this kind of diamond doesn't even need to be cut to be worth millions. But in my opinion, the most beautiful shape of diamonds are the triangular ones. These are rough diamonds, often called macaws. They are flat and clear. They have a triangular shape with several smaller triangle designs on their surface. This type of diamond is one of the rare occurrences of diamonds that are formed due to a growth process deep inside the earth. In this case, it can be a challenge to cut such a stone, both to make a piece of jewelry with a desirable shape and to give it the ideal number of facets so that we have an ideal refraction number for a diamond. Some of them are so perfect that they look like they've already been cut, like the one on your screen right now. Now pay attention. Unlike the geometric shapes we've already mentioned, which are very characteristic, you can also find completely irregular shapes. or ones that have been broken in nature for random reasons. They can be as smooth as a highly polished stone. These smooth diamonds may have started out in a different shape, but through rolling around in rivers, friction, and strong impacts with other stones, they end up naturally semi-polished. This is common in good quality rough diamonds. They can also have a higher brilliance than any other stone found in the rough. These types of diamonds with somewhat random shapes can be found in alluvial fans, which are basically the places where river gravel has accumulated over millions of years to form a small canyon along the banks of rivers. And here's a secret. You can find alluvial fans in places that were once dry rivers thousands or even millions of years ago. As the water has gone by, the gravel carried by the current can form a little hill, and there will be traces of some of the river water that pass through the area. So when we find pebbles, it doesn't always mean that they came from a current river. They may have come from a river that existed a long time ago and no longer exists. Oh, and to top it off, here on the channel there are 2 videos for you to learn how to analyze areas, as well as the tests you can do at home to find out if you've already found a diamond there and don't even know it. This is because when a diamond has an irregular shape, we need to analyze the other characteristics to make the most confident identification. In fact, many of the diamonds found in the United States come from alluvial fans and ancient rivers. If you can, watch this video more than once, because one thing's for sure. If you're out collecting pebbles one day and you come across a large, good quality diamond, it could be like hitting the lottery. A lot of people find a beautiful crystalline pebble out there and wonder if it might be a diamond because they know that not all diamonds are as crystalline as glass or crystal. So if you still don't know or are not familiar with the type of stone, I recommend that you keep watching our videos here on the channel, and if possible, buy the Gemology for Beginners book while it is still available and start identifying the stones you find in nature. Even if you've just happened to find a beautiful stone on the ground or by a river and wondered, can I make money by selling this stone? Yes, you can. Just watch the video below or access our gemstone book by clicking on the first link in the description. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Good luck, gem hunters!